Pisa was never on my travel list. In fact, if you had asked me a few months earlier what all cities I planned to visit in Italy, Pisa would not even have made the list. Yet somehow I found myself spending 2 full days in Pisa in May. And after spending 2 days exploring the city, climbing the tower, having some of the local food, and even visiting the coast, I thought that Pisa has more to offer than what I had expected. So after spending 2 full days here, was Pisa actually worth visiting? And how did I end up here even though I had no plans of visiting Pisa? Well, I'll tell you the story about that later on in the video, but let me first start by telling you something about Pisa itself. When most people hear the word Pisa, they immediately think of the Leaning Tower. So let's get the most obvious question out of the way. Is the Leaning Tower worth seeing? And the short answer to this question is absolutely. The tower is a part of 4 structures which are located within the Square of Miracles. This includes the cathedral, baptistry, the cemetery, and the Leaning Tower, which is actually a bell tower. Now, the reason that it leans, it has almost a 4-degree lean, is because it has an unstable foundation. Construction of this tower began in the 12th century. Ground here was really soft. The foundation could not take the weight of the tower which was being constructed, and so it started to lean. And by the time the 14th century came along, when the tower was actually completed, the lean had worsened. By 1990, the tilt had reached almost 5.5 degrees. The tower was actually closed for reconstructive work between 1993 to 2001, and during this time, the tilt of the tower was reduced. Basically, the tower is famous because of its faulty construction, which is a weird thing to be famous for, if you ask me. If you want to visit the tower, it is the most expensive attraction, and you end up shelling out around 20 euros if you just want to see the tower. On the other hand, if you want to see the rest of the attractions, you might get the combined price to be about 28 euros. Keep in mind that they do not allow any bags inside the tower. The entry to the tower is timed. The Leaning Tower has 7 floors and there are 296 steps to climb up the tower. These steps can feel quite steep, especially as you ascend to the upper floors. There are no handrails, and as you're climbing the tower, you constantly feel as if you're being pushed onto one side. Feeling completely pushed towards my left side because it's so steep. It's like inclining towards the left. It's a very strange sensation and it is absolutely one of a kind. If you guys are interested, I would definitely suggest that you go up the tower. The views from above are quite beautiful. It's a nice place to spend maybe half an hour. While the entry is timed, they don't really expect you to rush back down the tower. Just make sure you're wearing a pair of jeans rather than a long skirt like I did, because it is kind of difficult to climb. I did visit the cathedral. I did not take the tickets for the baptistry or the cemetery, but I did visit the cathedral. It's absolutely beautiful, no doubt about it. The architecture is stunning, but the highlight for me would still be the Leaning Tower, just because of the fact that it feels very different to anything you would probably experience anywhere else. Let us just talk about the cons of visiting the Square of Miracles. First of all, because this is one of the most photographed areas in the whole of Pisa. It's extremely touristy and very crowded, especially during the afternoon time when you have tourist buses which are arriving. There are people taking photographs in a variety of poses within the square. It can feel extremely crowded. Another thing to keep in mind is, obviously, because there are so many tourists over here, the food in this area is also fairly more expensive to elsewhere in the city. So the city of Pisa is a university town, and if you step away from the Square of Miracles, you will see the real Pisa, which is made up of cobble streets, small cafes tucked away in nooks and crannies. It has a calm, peaceful vibe about it. This is an area that most of the tourists actually never get to see. Pisa is a city that is surrounded by mountains on one side and the sea on the other side, and it is bisected by the river Arno. It has got old architecture, new architecture, and some of the buildings even date back to Roman times. And the best way to discover this city, according to me, is to just walk around and get lost. Honestly, it's difficult to get lost in Pisa. It's a relatively small city, so just go ahead and walk. It's really safe. Since I had a lot of time, I decided to take a 2-hour walking tour, and it was a good decision because the guide was a local person. He was really good at explaining about the different hidden parts of Pisa. He told us about the history of Pisa, the history of the various structures that you see, which date back to almost 600 AD. He also described the architectural design, which is called as the Pisan Romanesque architecture. Basically, I was able to see a much more authentic side of Pisa away from the tourist attractions. I will put a link of the walking tour that I did in the description below, so go ahead and make sure to check it out. One of the highlights was he gave recommendations for food and restaurants within the city. One of the most popular local specialities is cecina, which is like a thin, savory flatbread made out of chickpea flour. It was absolutely delicious. A trip to Italy would feel incomplete if I did not try the Italian pizza. I had a veggie loaded pizza and the flavors were bomb. So I found a local place. I just used Google. I looked for restaurants near me which had amazing rating. An absolute must try over here would be a gelato, obviously. There are multiple gelato shops all over Pisa. After a day of sightseeing and walking around the city, it makes for the perfect break. I tried the gelato at La Bottega del Gelato. It is perfectly located and it is right by the river Arno. Now, before I ramble on about the rest of my Pisa trip, remember I told you that it was not even on the list of places I planned to visit and somehow I ended up there? Well, let me tell you the story now. My parents had never visited Europe previously, and when I moved to London last October, they obviously wanted to come and visit me in London. So they made plans not only to visit me but also to take a European tour package with a travel company. And one of the last cities on their tour was supposed to be Pisa. I thought, why not surprise them? I already had a Schengen visa, so I booked a flight, took a really small backpack along with me. I coordinated with the tour director for my parents' trip and told him that I was planning to surprise them, and he was able to tell me where my parents would be on that particular day. What I did was I waited for them at the Square of Miracles, and when they arrived, I just went in front of them. I'm so glad I took that decision to just go to Pisa to surprise them. Not only did it create this core memory for us as a family, it also gave me a chance to visit a city that I would not have visited otherwise. I think that is what travel is all about, creating memories. Anyway, let's go ahead with the video. So I have always been a beach person, and when I realized that the coast was just 10 kilometers away, I could not resist. So I caught the bus and took a 40-minute journey to Marina di Pisa. Marina di Pisa is a small resort town where the river Arno meets with the Ligurian Sea. It has a very relaxed atmosphere as compared to the city of Pisa. You can walk along the promenade and grab a bite to eat from one of numerous restaurants which are around that area. It's a perfect place if you want to move away from the crowds which are present within the city center, and you also want to experience the coast but you don't want to visit beaches which are further away from Pisa. Just keep in mind that the beach is made of rocks and pebbles, so it is not ideal for sunbathing. So to answer the question, after spending 2 days in Pisa, was it worth it? Yes, it was definitely worth it, but there is a caveat to it. If you are expecting a city which is packed with world famous attractions like maybe Rome or Venice or Paris, then you might be disappointed. But if you are looking for a city which has a relaxed Italian vibe, some good food, some famous attractions, a coastal escape, then Pisa might just be the place for you. Personally, I think Pisa deserves more than a quick photo stop. It may not have been on my list of cities to travel initially, but I'm so glad that I took this trip. Let me know what was the most favorite part of the video for you. And if you're planning to visit Pisa, definitely let me know in the comment section below what you enjoyed the most, and if you visited any of the places that I've mentioned in the video. If you like such videos, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I keep sharing videos of all my travels across Europe. I will see you all again very soon in the next video. Bye bye.